What's up, everybody? This is Alexis, and you're listening to the Power to Be Show podcast. When the worship service is over, what do you do? Many of us go to church every week, and some go periodically, but worship is not a one-day event. It's in everything you do, including while working throughout the week. On the Power to Be Show, we are showing people every week the impact of recognizing how God impacts every aspect of your life. Dive in each week as Dr. Bird, who is both a pastor and professor, chats with various entrepreneurs and leaders in the community. This week, we have TaRhonda Harvey. She is the owner of Kolmio Global Inc. and creator of Bosses in Power. TaRhonda is passionate about ensuring that business owners at every stage have access to resources and tools needed to create the business of their dreams. Before I turn it over to our host, all I ask is that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, leave a comment on the episode, and share with your circle. We all have the power to be. Now here is your host, Dr. TaRhonda Bird. Welcome to another episode of the Power to Be Show.
Be creative, be connected, and be courageous. Worship does not stop on Sunday. Now, if you were going to give advice that you would say a business owner must do this to succeed, listeners, I hope that you have been blessed, even as I have, with what we've heard today.
Thank you, Alexis. What a pleasure it is to be here today. And I am delighted to have TaRhonda, who is here to tell us something about the world of entrepreneurship and to give us a little insight into not only what she does, but how perhaps you could do something similar and learn the lessons along the way. Mm-hmm. So it's good to have you with us, TaRhonda.
Thank you, Dr. Bird, for having me.
Yeah. So you come from this area, so you're not new to the West Palm Beach, the Riviera Beach area?
Not new at all. I was actually born and raised here in West Palm Beach.
Wow.
Good Samaritan.
Good Samaritan. Wow.
Hospital.
Yeah. And I know, exactly where. So now, a lot of folk, they grow up here, go to school here, and then they're gone. They
Drift
leave.
away.
That's right. So, but you decided to stay. What kept you here?
I love being here, and then just family.
Okay.
So I went to high school here, went off to college in Tallahassee, went to Florida State University. And then after came back and I moved to Miami. Okay. Actually. I moved to Miami.
Further south.
And it was totally different down there than West Palm. I will say that.
Different look.
Yes. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And I got my certifications down there. So I stayed there for probably about a year. Okay. Worked a couple months there. And then I decided to come back
home
to West Palm Beach.
Yeah, wow. Come back home.
Yeah.
So now, you're from here. You went to high school, went to college. You said Florida State.
Yes.
Now, what was it that you saw yourself doing as you entered the college world? Did you go into a particular area or field from the start knowing exactly what it is you wanted to do?
Yes, I've always liked computers. So even when I was actually in college, I was working at Best Buy in Tallahassee, working with the computers and everything, but there was still a sense of me wanting to be my own business, have my own business and do my own thing.
Yeah.
But I continued on and did the, computer science, learning all of that. And
well, I think that's good. I love what I learned about you in the Best Buy, that you're working at Best Buy, but you're so intrigued by the techie side of it that you found yourself spending extra time there.
Yes.
Now, Now, what is this that I hear you can break down a computer and put it back together again?
Yeah.
So you are a bona fide nerd, right?
I'm not as bad as I used to be. I used to be one of those nerds that every single time something came out, the new gadget, TaRhonda was going to have it. I was going to figure it out. I'm doing this. And then I became an adult with bills.
Okay.
Right? So then those gadgets slowly start being like, oh, okay, let somebody else get them and they'll tell me, about them.
Yeah. But that's good that you found something that you enjoy doing.
Yes.
The kind of techie world. So now in that, was this something that perhaps somebody in your life that they were doing something like that may have inspired you to do it? Where did this come from?
I have no idea. No, because it was just always I had a love for computers.
Okay. Wow. So
it was just a love for computers, just learning, and then like you said, being able to take it apart, putting it back together. I had gotten a certification doing that.
Okay.
So then after I got the certification, and then I came back to West Palm, and then I would start working in corporate America. And I wasn't doing that. I wasn't taking apart the computer or any of that. I was a business systems analyst. So I'm like, okay, I didn't got this certification.
So why am I not doing
why am I not
certified?
doing what right? Yeah. So I did end up becoming an adjunct professor.
Okay.
And so I was able to utilize the certification. I did that for about 4 years.
Okay.
So I taught students how to get the certification to like prep them in getting that. It's a A+ certification is what it is.
Okay. Now is that kind of part of the IT?
It is the IT.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. So you worked in that. Wow.
Yeah.
So you did that for how long?
I did that for 4 years.
Okay.
At the same time, I had started my business.
Okay. So you're working but you're also
working.
Paying the bills.
And started my business. So I was it was 2 jobs and a business. Wow.
So now I want to kind of put this puzzle together. If it's a puzzle, I don't know.
Okay.
But so you have finished college. Your training or certification was system analysis, or
it was the A+ certification.
A+ certification, okay.
Network Plus certification, which basically kind of putting together a computer network.
Okay.
And then I received a certification with Microsoft. So it was a Microsoft certified professional. And then a Microsoft certified systems engineer certification.
And I say,
Yeah, I know.
So good for you. So, so which I think is fantastic because you were preparing yourself to do something. You know what I'm saying?
Do something.
And and so from that, this desire to be an entrepreneur, where did that come from?
So when I was in corporate America, I at the time I'm doing the systems analysis now. So now I'm working with developers who actually build, they code, they do all of that for customers who are actually employees.
I see.
Right. That was at the job. And just looking at that, and I was just like, something more. I want something more.
Okay.
It was always this, I want something more. And I think it was the drive of coming out of school, because we're kind of like programmed, right? You go to school, you're supposed to come out, you're supposed to make the big bucks. So you're trying to reach the corporate ladder.
Okay.
And I don't know, I guess it was just too slow for me. And I was like, we need to speed this up.
Gotta get with this.
Gotta get with it. Yeah. And at the time, one of my wasn't a coworker, but we worked at the same facility.
Gotcha.
And both of us were like, hey, what if we started a business? And then we would meet, kind of come up with some ideas. And we were like, okay, let's do this.
We can do that. So you were looking at maybe a partnership. You say you
I did. It started off as a partnership.
Okay.
It did start off as a partnership. And initially I thought my services would be the computer tech, taking apart the computer. That's what I thought.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. God had a different plan.
I do understand that, but believe me, there are people like me that needed to have somebody around that knew how to take apart a computer. So one of the things that I really like to emphasize is the role that our faith plays in the work we do, which in a sense, I'm really looking at how one integrates into their life, their faith. Where is God in the midst of what you do?
Everywhere. So I would say when I started the business, and like I said, it started off as a partnership. And then at the time, the partner got married, had children. So that was like the focus was on there, right?
Yeah.
But I still, But for me, I still was like, no, I still see myself leaving this job and going full time. That was like my vision. That's what I saw for myself.
Okay.
So I was at my job for 14 years. I was there for 14 years. And it just got to a point where I was going to work and I wasn't happy. It was like I was just going just to go. It was going to pay the bills and everything else, but I wasn't happy. And that's when I had
fulfillment.
Correct. It just wasn't there. And that's when I said, okay, me and God got to have a talk because something got to give, right?
Yeah.
And I remember being at my mom's house and I was watching Joel Osteen. And it was like the message was specifically like for me. And I was actually about to leave her house. But this message just drew me to like stay. And I'm listening. I'm like, okay. And the moral of his message was step out on faith.
Okay.
So in my head, I'm like, okay.
He's maybe talking to me.
Maybe he like talking to me. Okay. Yeah. And I said, okay, I'm going to challenge myself. So I left my mom's and I was in the car and I said, okay, God, I hear you. But I need you to give me a date. On when you want me to leave. If this is what you want me to do, I need a date. I wasn't expecting him to give me a date by the time I got home.
Okay. Well, he's a right now God. You know that.
I know that. I just
right now God.
I was like,
so what?
Like,
so you that night you.
So that night, it gave me a date. And it was actually towards the end of the year. I was like, okay.
So you just you knew that the Lord had deposited that in your spirit. That
was it. Yeah. And the interesting part was when that date came, there was a hurricane that was coming. It was Hurricane Irma.
Yeah.
And for the job that I was at, I always had to work storm. So I'm like, okay, wait. Now I know what you told me, what date you told me, but I'm like, here's a hurricane. Did I hear wrong? Like, what's what? And long story short, I ended up going through doing the storm duty like I normally do. And he told me another date, which was at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. And I remember I told a coworker, and he's like, well, TaRhonda, how are you going to leave? You know, bonuses come the next year, like in 3 months. Sure, and you talking about leaving in December? Mm-hmm. Like, are you sure you want to do this? And I'm like, yes. You know, mm-hmm, in my head, I'm like, yes. And I remembered that message from Joel. Mm-hmm. And I remembered that all the other things that I know that God has provided for me.
Sure.
And I know that he's never failed me.
Right. If he did it once, he'll
do it again.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to be obedient. Mm-hmm. And he's shown me a number of times what happens when you are obedient.
Yeah.
So I said, no, I needed to be obedient.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening is what the bonus would have been. Mm-hmm. I actually was able to make that up.
Wow.
With Storm. So at the end of the day, I didn't lose anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But in the moment, I was like, I don't know. I'm leaving this money. But he provided.
God provides, yeah. And sometimes we only see the corner, but he sees around the corner. Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so your faith, you utilize your faith in a way that says, I'm willing to trust God with whatever.
Exactly.
And maybe the storm was necessary to help keep you focused. Sometimes it's when we have storms in our life that really focus us to really sense what is important.
Right.
So yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so you never stopped believing in your dream, it seems.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's good.
I never stopped. And I think using my coworker, I think it was, you know, sometimes you have people that will distract you, right, and make you second guess what you know God has told you that you're supposed to do.
Sure, yeah.
And I'm like, no, this is it.
Yeah,
this is it. Well, so that date, walked out.
You said,
adios. Adios.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me something about how you went about starting a business.
So in the beginning, because, you know, you don't know what you need to start a business, right? Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, I was going based off of what you see, right? Okay. So I'm thinking, okay, I need this big business plan. I need an office. I need this. I need that. And I did all of that, right? I did all of that. Yeah. And now I look back and I wasted money.
Okay.
I did.
So some lessons were learned.
Lessons were learned. Yeah. But now I see that it helps me to be able to educate those that are coming up. Okay. And those that say my clients and they say, oh, okay, well, I think I need this. I'm like, well, you know, you could do it this way. Right. You know, but I had to go through it.
Okay. So
you see what I mean? So that I can help somebody else along the way.
So tell our audience what it is. I mean, it seems like you've got a lot of business connections. So what is it that you will do for your client?
So in terms of what I do now?
What do you do? Let me back up just a minute because I love the name, even though I'm not saying it correctly. Kolmio Global. So tell me about the name first, and then what it is that Kolmio Global is doing.
So Kolmio Global was the name when I had my business partner. Okay. Initially, we were called Image Solutions Consulting. Okay. That was the first name. Okay. And I was like, it almost sounds like a photography business, you know? Yeah. Well, we kept the name for a couple of years, but I'm like, maybe we need to change it. I wanted something that represented what we were about. Okay. And then he came to me and was like, oh, Kolmio. I'm like, Kolmio? What is that? So when I looked it up, it's Finnish. Okay. Right? Right. So in English, it means triangle.
I see. Have you been to Finland?
No.
No, okay.
No.
Okay, of all places.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
okay.
But it means triangle. Okay.
But it means triangle. And if you look up triangle, it means creativity, transformation, spirituality. So it represented everything that I wanted the business to be about. So Kolmio Global provides website design, branding.
Okay.
So what basically, and then I have my own brand as well, TaRhonda Harvey. So I am like the personal branding coach, strategist, and web designer.
Okay, so you're consulting.
Correct.
Okay.
So I will do the consulting piece. So I pretty much will help entrepreneurs, one, get their brand out there so that they look good online.
Okay.
Right. But also to help them attract the clients that they're looking for.
Okay. Now you were saying, and now I can kind of get into this lessons learned. You said you spent a lot of money, you did a lot of things, made some decisions that were not necessarily essential for the success of your business. Why did you make those decisions? Was it, I mean, what were you doing?
Just going based off of what we think we know.
Okay.
And what we see.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I think one of the lessons now is I wish I would have had a mentor early on to kind of guide me so that I didn't have to make some of those monetary decisions.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's lessons learned. Like I don't look back and say, oh boy, I spent a lot of money doing that.
Right.
You know,
Right.
You know, just like getting an office, right? I had an office in Palm Beach Gardens, and when it was time to meet clients, everyone's like, "Oh, let's just meet at Starbucks." Like, but I'm paying for an office.
Right.
You don't want to meet
Come
at the
to my
office?
Yeah.
I'm like, just come on up here.
I've got it decorated so nice.
I'm like, so nice, cozy. You want to come? No, let's go and have coffee. And I'm like, okay. You know, so it was just those different things, right?
Yeah.
That are lessons learned. So I wish I would have had, like I said, a mentor early on, or even a coach.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So somebody that has maybe done what you're doing.
Correct.
So you can say, let me shadow you. Let me do that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Good. So, tell me some of the successes that you've had. Can you tell particular stories about some of your successes?
So I'm horrible at talking about myself, but but I have had the opportunity of being in magazines, awards, and things of that sort. I told you I'm horrible when it comes to talking about me.
That's good.
But I'm very humble when it comes to that, right? Because I think with all of that is God's blessing.
Yeah.
Right?
So really what you're saying is that other folk have recognized the work you've done.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. That's okay.
Correct. No, because sometimes people feel as if you're bragging.
Well,
right?
Yeah, well, I want you to brag a bit because because I'm on a show that I need to know what you're doing. So the more you talk, the more I look good, like I know what I got you to.
Gotcha.
So that's good. So you know, when you have done well and been successful, other people have seen that and have recognized it.
Correct.
So that's good. That's good. So the successes have been significant. What about failures? Can you talk about failures?
So I would probably say one of the, and I wouldn't even say failure, but I think one of the challenges that I have right now is learning the work-life balance.
Okay.
That's one of the hardest part of
Yeah. So that sometimes, I mean, could also be, say, time management.
Right.
So discipline?
It's more so, and I think it's something that as entrepreneurs, we don't talk about, a lot. When you are a person delivering a service, you tell your clients, okay, this is going to get done on this date, right? And yes, things come up. Everything, nothing
That's
ever
Murphy's
is perfect,
Law, yeah.
right? So, but I notice for me sometimes is if there's things that are, and I'll use, for example, I had a client, and this was during probably about 2 years, like when COVID had first started. And I was like, okay, this is going to get done on this date, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, okay. And in a matter of 3 weeks, I had 3 family members to pass away.
Oh, wow.
And for me, I was still thinking, I need to get this done. I need to get this done. Right. And she had to tell me, TaRhonda, it's okay.
So
you need to take care, right? You need to take care of your mental health with everything that's gone on. It's okay.
Yeah.
The project will still be here.
Sure.
But I need you to be right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's for me, a lot of time is what I mean with that work-life balance.
Yeah. Yeah. And being able to segregate and prioritize the things you do.
Right.
I understand that. I was going to, and I think, you kind of already touched up on it. And that is during COVID, the pandemic. How did that impact your business? Because it looks like you don't necessarily need an office.
No.
You've already told me that.
I know, right?
So but people were on lockdown. There weren't people doing
People
stuff.
were on lockdown, but I had some clients that had to close their businesses. Right?
Right.
So if they had to close their business, they didn't need me.
Okay. Yes,
right?
Yeah.
So it allowed me at that time to kind of have a conversation with myself to say, okay, these clients, what are we going to do? Right. And I knew that God was going to send more.
Okay.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I have faith and I know. So, but it gave me the opportunity to really start to say, okay, what's next for TaRhonda?
Okay.
What's next for you?
Right.
Right. So I started thinking of other things and having a conversation like, Lord, what's next? And then it was like, okay, well, you need to do this. You need to focus more on this. You need to focus more on that. And it gave me the opportunity to focus on that.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. I've talked to so many people, so many entrepreneurs and small business people who said that during COVID, it gave them, it sparked their creative juices.
Right.
Which means that they were able to kind of look at other things that they could do. That sounds like what I'm hearing.
Correct.
You say.
Because it allowed you to, you had to get out of your comfort zone, right? Because I remember I had clients that were in the office and they performed their services in the office.
Okay.
They were used to the paper, doing things by paper, right?
Sure.
So now it came where I had to train people like, okay, look at what's your business process? Now, how can we turn this to where it can be online so that you can keep your job?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So then they started learning like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. And I think for leadership and management, help them to say, oh, there is another way that we can do this.
Yeah, I think the virtual world. I know I'm a professor as well as a pastor, but the Zoom world became kind of my mainstay, and it's still
right.
doing it, even with some of our learning, our Bible studies. Yeah. So that did not, even though it impacted you, your business was not halted or stopped. Okay.
Correct.
You continued on. Yeah.
Correct.
You just had to find.
It was just other ways and different things that now, services that I wasn't even thinking that I would. It was more so of the training piece.
Okay.
Like going in and actually training organizations versus working with starter entrepreneurs, so it kind of shifted with the type of clientele that I was actually working with.
Right.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about what you do in terms of the branding. Because I think that's a kind of an interesting thing when you are
it's
doing
interesting.
Branding. Talk to me a little bit about that.
So when it comes to branding, a lot of times people, especially entrepreneurs, they think I have the logo, I have the website, I'm branded. That's not what branding is about. And one of the things that I when I do ask people or teach them about branding, always, and I'll use, for example, like Chick-fil-A, right? I'll ask people, I'm like, okay, so when you see the Chick-fil-A logo, what do you think? Right? And everybody may mention something about food, but then you have some people that say, I go there and they're so pleasant. They say, thank you. That's what branding is about. Right?
Yeah.
What are people saying about you when you're not there?
Right.
Right. So what does your online presence say? Can people go and Google you? Is something going to come up?
Right.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is something going to come up? And then if you do have a website, is it speaking to the clients that you are looking for?
So knowing your audience is
knowing
so
your
important.
target audience is the main thing. So that's the first thing that I teach my clients, because a lot of times people feel I started a business. Everyone wants my service. Everyone wants my product. And that's not the case, right? That's not the case. You got to know what your target audience is so that you know how to market yourself.
Yeah. But one person said great expectations can lead to wounded spirits. So if you... So I think you have to be careful. And sometimes when people are really dealt with the reality of what they need to do.
Correct.
Right. And oftentimes people don't value the importance of the brand, of the marketing aspect. I think, I don't know if, I assume you sense that, you know that.
Definitely.
Definitely. So if you were going to advise someone that would like to go into business, not necessarily yours, but just any kind of entrepreneurial business, what might be 3 of the top things that you would say this person must do?
I would first say find the right people to be around.
Okay.
Entrepreneurship can be lonely.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So does that get back to when you were saying you may have needed to have someone to mentor you? And
Correct.
Okay.
But just having a circle, right? Because there's going to be times that, you're working on a project, you may not be able to go out to dinner with your friends. So you got to have people that understand this new lifestyle, right?
Okay.
So just circling yourself with with support, like a good circle, a good system.
Yeah. I like that. People who understand what you're doing, because, you got to work.
You got to work.
Yeah.
And sometimes people don't understand that.
Yeah.
And you lose friends.
Okay.
Along the way.
I would.
You do. I mean, because
some
people don't
intentionally, voluntarily. What do you mean? Some you just cut off.
Just cut off.
Okay.
So that would be number one. Number 2, I would say trust the process.
Okay.
Trust the process.
Trust the process. So
So
there is a system. There is a process that you must.
When I mean trust the process, meaning whatever happens, like for me, my mantra is everything happens for a reason. And someone can say, trust in the process in a spiritual way, in a physical, whatever it is for them, but trust the process.
Okay.
Because everything happens for a reason.
Okay.
Sometimes we may not see why we didn't get that client. Oh, I wanted that client, but somehow it didn't work out because maybe God knew that wasn't the client for you.
So accept your circumstances within that process.
Correct.
Okay.
And accept the challenges.
Okay.
Right?
That
because
may
the
come as a
challenges,
result.
correct. Because the challenges is what makes you grow.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
If entrepreneurship was easy, how are we supposed to learn?
Okay. That's true. Right.
Learning comes from challenges.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's how.
And all of the tests and everything. It's like trust the process. Sometimes you don't know why things happen the way that they do. So just trust the process.
Trust the process. Okay.
Trust the process.
Don't give up, I guess, in the midst of that.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
Trust the process.
Just trust the process.
Yeah.
And then the third one, which should have been the first one, but always keep God in your business.
Okay. So
always pray about the next move.
Yeah, I think that's good. And I think that when you do that, you can trust the process, right?
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So,
you're right.
Yeah. So when you pray because you believe that you're doing what God has called you to do. Yeah. Okay. So those are good. Those are good steps, I think, that could help people to be able to endure. Have you had any challenges that have kind of threw you for a minute?
Threw me for a loop.
Yeah. I mean, I know that COVID, maybe that was, but any business things that have kind of.
I mean, there's moments where you just really want to quit, right? That you're just like, I don't know if I can do this anymore.
Yeah.
I don't care how long you've been in business. It always comes a point where you're tired. You get tired, right?
Yeah.
And I think one of the things too is that as an entrepreneur and you have clients, your clients become your family, right? So if they're having problems and they talk to you about your problems, like you take on those things as well. But at the same time, you're still trying to be there for your client.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Stay sane.
Right.
But a lot of times, and I know lately, I've been telling a lot of my clients, show empathy to people because people are fighting silent battles. Regardless, people walk around, they smile. And everyone is going through something.
Yeah, and mental health is a major issue today.
It's a major issue. Yeah. And then on top of that, when you're an entrepreneur, providing services for people, your clients have different personalities.
Okay,
right?
Yeah.
They're not all the same,
sure.
Right? And, sometimes that can just become overwhelming when you're dealing with that. And then you may have personal things that's going on, right? But you don't let your clients know that.
Right.
Because when they call you, who wants to, when they say, oh, how are you doing? Well, let me tell you, this going on. This no one wants it. Right, and then no one really wants to hear that. Right? So you're like, oh, I'm good. I'm this, Yeah. But at some point, all of that becomes overwhelming.
Sure.
Right?
But, so you've got to wear the game, face.
You got to wear the game face and you keep going,
Yeah.
But that's where the prayer comes in. Right?
Yeah,
that's where the prayer comes in.
Absolutely.
So that you can, when you start feeling that way, he can put you right back where you need to be.
Yeah. Now, at the beginning of our discussion, I asked about your inspiration. What inspired you Were there anybody, any mentors, anybody? I know you said that one of the things you wish you had was a mentor, but what has been your inspiration?
Majority, I would probably say my mother. Okay. Right? Because she's been, so when I was 6 years old when my father passed. Okay. So it's been 30, wait, how old am I? Let me see. I'm like,
well, that's okay. We don't.
But it's been
over. The loss of your father,
the loss
and then
of
your
the
mother
father,
had to take on the role.
That is correct.
Yeah,
that is correct.
Are there other siblings?
I have a sister.
Okay,
and then I have a brother.
Okay, so 3 of you. Yeah. Are any of them doing any kind of entrepreneurial work?
So my sister is an entrepreneur as well. Okay. She's into health insurance. So that's what she does, health insurance. Okay. And my brother, I don't call step brother, but he is in Washington, so he's retired, living his best life. So okay. So, yeah.
Well, I kind of feel you. I was raised by a single mother. Okay. Also, my father died when I was 6, so I see. Yeah. So I understand when you can say your mother can become your role model. Correct. Or your inspiration. Correct. Was your mother into any kind of entrepreneurial or anything like that? Or
no, but she was a seamstress. So she
had a skill.
Yeah, she had a skill. Yeah. She was doing that for years. She used to make our clothes, me and my sister's clothes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
How'd y'all like that?
I liked it.
Okay. Okay, I don't know.
We always had something different, but now it's like, this is a little off. Be like, you should go buy something else. Like, she don't even want to look at a sewing machine right now. Yeah, she's like, I am done with that. But just seeing her and the sacrifices that she made, for us is inspiring because she was 39 when my father passed.
Okay.
So I know, like, when I turned 39, I was like, wow, my mother was this age and raising 2 children, right? I was 6. My sister was going off to college, was about to go off to college.
Wow, yeah.
So just seeing her, the sacrifices that she's made, the strength in her, the faith in God. She made sure that we went to Sunday school and kept us in church.
In church, yeah.
So yeah.
I know that 24/7.
And be on time.
Yeah. So because I think as I talk to entrepreneurs that's what really helps shape them. Oh yeah. And what they've come through or who they are. And the people that have been in their life.
Correct.
And it sounds like your mother has been there. Right. She's been there for you. And still.
And still is. Yeah. But that goes back to what I was saying with having that circle. Right? Yeah. That circle of support.
Right.
Is what matters.
Yeah.
Because especially with me transitioning over into full entrepreneurship, it was like, okay, I'm going to do this. It's like, all right, go ahead, TaRhonda. Go ahead. Yeah. But having those cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Behind you.
You got to have that fan club.
You got to have that.
You can do it, child. You can do it.
You can do it.
Yeah.
So that's why I was saying that's very important.
Yeah.
If it's not your family, friends, mentors, somebody, but just have that support system. Yeah.
That's great. Well, TaRhonda, it's been a real joy to sit down and talk with you. Yes. Would you mind if I have a word of prayer with you?
Yes.
Okay, let's pray. Eternal God, we are so grateful for what you do in our lives. And even though sometimes we cannot see what the end will be, we know that you are with us on the journey. And I thank you for being with TaRhonda. We thank you for how you have led her, and we thank you for the gifts that you've given her, because all good and perfect gifts come from above. And I thank you, oh God, that she is committed to the work that she is doing. She knows her assignment, and we are grateful for that. Now, Lord, I pray that you would bless her with abundant blessings, that you would extend and expand the borders of her business, and that even as she prays and seeks your face, that you would continue to order her steps in your word. So, Lord, I thank you for her. I thank for those lives that she is touching, and I pray, oh God, as she goes forward, that she would continue to give you the glory for the success that you've given her. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Like to just share. We always like to give a little bit of something. A little tumbler that has power to be on it.
See, branded.
Branding. All right. So hopefully every time you see that, you will think about the power to be.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, well, you are. So thank you for being with us, and much success on your business.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you for being with us on another Power to Be show. And I am sure you have enjoyed and were inspired by what you heard from our guest today. So please come and join us again next week. God bless you and be blessed. See you next week.
We would like to thank this episode's sponsor, Living Word Christian Community, located at 2390 South Military Trail, West Palm Beach, Florida, 33415, where Dr. Terrell Bird is the lead pastor. The worship service begins at 10:30 a.m. in person on Facebook and Instagram Live.